Jeff Bezos lied about his wedding. $50 million fake marriage exposed. Jeff Bezos thought he could fool the entire world with his picture-perfect wedding, but leaked documents just exposed the truth about his $50 million fake marriage scheme. And trust me, this goes deeper than you think. Before we dive into this explosive revelation, make sure you're subscribed to Celeb Lux Life, because we're the only channel brave enough to expose the truth behind celebrity facades. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our exclusive investigations. A fairy tale wedding in the heart of Venice, a guest list that reads like a who's who of global power, and a price tag that could fund a small country. To the outside world, it was the ultimate display of billionaire love, a storybook ending for the world's third richest man and his glamorous bride. A reported $50 million buys a lot of perfection. It buys private islands, custom couture gowns, and the smiling approval of A-list celebrities. But what if the fairy tale was a fabrication? We're not just talking about the flowers or the curated smiles. We're talking about the whole reason for the event itself. Why spend an estimated $50 million on a party? What are you trying to prove? Or more importantly, what are you trying to bury? We're about to expose how Jeff Bezos' extravagant wedding was an elaborate performance, a masterclass in controlling a story, and how this multi-million-dollar spectacle was designed to hide a shocking, unforgivable story of family betrayal that lies at the dark heart of their relationship. The billionaire's fairy tale. Let's be clear, what the world saw in June 2025 was the pinnacle of opulence. This wasn't just a wedding, it felt more like a coronation. For 3 days, Jeff Bezos and Sánchez basically commandeered the ancient city of Venice and turned it into their personal playground. The whole thing kicked off on a Thursday, a multi-day extravaganza that climaxed with a ceremony on the secluded island of San Giorgio Maggiore, an island famous for its 16th century marble basilicas, a masterpiece of Renaissance design. Its main selling point for a man like Bezos? It's private, secluded, and defensible. The guest list was a staggering collection of about 200 of the world's most influential people, all flown in to bear witness. You had titans of tech like Bill Gates, a friendly rival. You had media royalty like Oprah Winfrey and Gayle King arriving together. Hollywood was in full force. Leonardo DiCaprio trying and failing to hide under a baseball cap, Tom Brady, and a newly single Orlando Bloom. The Kardashian clan was there, with Lauren being old friends with the family. At least Kim Kardashian and Kris Jenner were spotted. Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner made an appearance, as did their relatives Karlie Kloss and Joshua Kushner. The list just keeps going. Usher, Sydney Sweeney, Diane von Furstenberg. A gathering like this isn't a party, it's a summit. And the cost, just as breathtaking. While some early reports floated a figure of $10 million, the president of the Veneto region, Luca Zaia, told reporters the final cost was estimated to be somewhere between $47 and $56 million. So let's just call it an even $50 million. To put that in perspective, for Bezos, with his colossal net worth, spending $50 million is the financial equivalent of you or me buying a fancy cocktail. The bride herself was a vision of luxury. For the ceremony, Lauren wore a custom Dolce & Gabbana gown that reportedly took over 900 hours of artisanal work to create. But one dress is never enough. She reportedly changed 2 more times, slipping into a gown inspired by a classic 1940s film and later into a glittering Oscar de la Renta cocktail dress supposedly embellished with 175,000 crystals. From the 5-star Aman Hotel on the Grand Canal, where rooms can go for over $7,000 a night, to the fleet of elite water taxis reserved for guests, every detail was meticulously planned. It said they even hired Matteo Bocelli, son of the legendary Andrea Bocelli, to sing Can't Help Falling in Love as the couple celebrated. This was the image projected to the world, a flawless, overwhelming, and legally binding union that took place on Friday, June 27th. An event so perfect, it seemed unreal. And that's because, in many ways, it was a perfectly constructed fantasy. If you're as shocked as I am by these revelations, show your support by hitting the like button and subscribing. We have even more bombshell celebrity secrets coming your way, and you won't want to miss what we uncover next. The cracks in the facade. While the champagne flowed and celebrities smiled for the cameras, a very different story was unfolding on the streets of Venice. Not everyone was celebrating the arrival of the Amazon King. A coalition of local activist groups calling themselves No Space for Bezos had a different welcome planned. For them, this wedding wasn't a fairy tale. It was a symbol of unchecked wealth and the privatization of their historic city. They staged protests for days, unfurling giant banners from iconic sites, including one on the famous Rialto Bridge that read, "Kisses yes, Bezos no." Another, more pointedly, declared 118,000 Italian shops killed by Amazon. Activists even launched a mannequin of Bezos down the Grand Canal, clinging to an Amazon box with his fists full of fake money. These weren't just a few disgruntled locals. Hundreds of people marched, vowing to make the nuptials a nightmare for the billionaire. The protests actually had an impact. The threat of canal blockades became so significant that Bezos and Sánchez had to make a last-minute change of venue for one of their parties, moving it to the Arsenal, a former shipyard on the city's outskirts that was easier to secure. Bezos' team tried to smooth things over with a donation of €1 million to help preserve Venice, but activists weren't impressed. One local, Flavio Kogo, put it bluntly to the press: "Those donations are just misery and only aimed at clearing Bezos' conscience." This backlash was the first public crack in that multi-million-dollar facade. It showed that no matter how much money you throw around, you can't always control the narrative. And as it turns out, controlling the narrative was the entire point of this wedding. Because the real story of Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sánchez isn't a fairy tale. It's a drama of scandal, media wars, and a family betrayal so deep, it's almost Shakespearean. The Rewind, a scandalous beginning. To understand why a man would spend a fortune on a wedding, we have to rewind to January 2019. This is when the world first learned about Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sánchez. And it wasn't through a tasteful press release. It was through a bombshell story in the National Enquirer. At the time, Bezos was still married to Mackenzie Scott, his wife of 25 years. Lauren Sánchez was also married to Patrick Whitesell, the powerful chairman of the talent agency Endeavor. The Enquirer story didn't just reveal their affair, it published their private, intimate text messages for the whole world to read. The fallout was immediate and explosive. Bezos and Mackenzie announced their divorce just hours before the story broke. Suddenly, the world's richest man was caught in a massive tabloid scandal. But this was just the beginning. Bezos didn't just take it. He fought back, hiring a high-powered investigator, Gavin de Becker, to find out who leaked his private information.
Then, in a move that stunned everyone, Bezos took to the internet and published an extraordinary blog post. In it, he accused the Enquirer's parent company of extortion and blackmail. He claimed they threatened to publish even more embarrassing photos unless he publicly stated their investigation wasn't politically motivated. Bezos refused. He published their threatening emails himself, a move that showed he would use his immense power and wealth to fight back against anyone who tried to control him. This saga established the central theme of the Bezos-Sánchez story: a battle for control of the narrative, fought in public with no expense spared. But the most shocking part wasn't the affair or the blackmail. It was the answer to the question, who leaked the texts? The prime suspect, named by Bezos' own investigators, was a man at the very center of their new life, Lauren Sánchez's own brother.
The ultimate betrayal. His name is Michael Sánchez. A Hollywood talent manager, he was, by his own account, a close and protective older brother to Lauren. But as investigators started digging into the leak, his name kept coming up. According to reporting from the Wall Street Journal and others, federal prosecutors had evidence suggesting that Michael Sánchez was paid $200,000 by the National Enquirer for the private texts that exposed the affair. The story goes that Lauren had shared the texts with her brother, and he, in turn, sold them to the highest bidder. The betrayal was absolute. In a statement from her lawyer, Lauren Sánchez was unequivocal, saying, "He secretly provided my most personal information to the National Enquirer, a deep and unforgivable betrayal." Imagine that. The foundation of your new, world-changing relationship is a secret you share with your brother, and he, allegedly, sells that secret for cash, blowing up your life and the life of the world's richest man in the process. Michael Sánchez has always denied this. He insisted he was just trying to manage the story for his sister's benefit. Then he did something extraordinary. In February 2020, he sued Jeff Bezos for defamation, claiming Bezos' team had falsely fingered him as the source of the leak. So now you have Jeff Bezos in a relationship with a woman whose brother is actively suing him. The legal battle was ugly. Bezos' lawyers called the lawsuit a transparent attempt to get a payday from a billionaire. In November 2020, a judge threw out Michael Sánchez's lawsuit. Bezos had won the legal fight, but the damage was done. The origin story of Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sánchez was now permanently tangled up with tabloid leaks, extortion claims, and a bitter public family feud. This wasn't a clean slate. It was a messy, embarrassing foundation. And for a man obsessed with control and image, that was a problem. A problem that apparently only a $50 million wedding could fix. The wedding as a weapon. This is where it all comes together. This is the why. Why the absurdly extravagant wedding? Why the obsession with a flawless public image? When you're Jeff Bezos, a wedding is never just a wedding. It's a strategic operation. It's a PR campaign. It's an act of narrative warfare. The lie wasn't about a fake marriage certificate. The union was, by all accounts, legally binding. The real lie was the story the wedding was trying to sell. A simple, beautiful, uncomplicated romance. The $50 million Venice spectacle was a deliberate act of rebranding. It was designed to be so overwhelming and so star-studded that it would effectively bury that ugly origin story. You can't think about leaked texts and sibling betrayal when you're looking at photos of Oprah Winfrey on a water taxi and a bride in a $500,000 gown. The sheer scale of the event was meant to become the new first chapter of their public story. It was a hostile takeover of their own narrative. Think of it like a corporate merger. Two powerful brands, Bezos and Sánchez, coming together. The merger was messy with bad press. So what do? You launch a massive, expensive ad campaign to announce the new, unified brand. You create an image of strength, stability, and glamour. You want people to forget the messy details and focus on the shiny new product. This wedding was that ad campaign. Every detail was part of this strategy. The Venice location, synonymous with timeless romance, was chosen to bestow a sense of old-world legitimacy on a very modern and scandalous relationship. The A-list guest list wasn't just for a party. It was an endorsement. When Bill Gates and Oprah fly across the world for your wedding, they are publicly validating your union. They're signaling that you're not just accepted, but celebrated at the highest levels of society. This is why the protests were more than just a nuisance. They were a direct threat to the campaign. They were a reminder of the real world, of the controversies surrounding Amazon, and the inequality that allows one man to spend a fortune on a party while others struggle. The protesters were puncturing the carefully constructed fairy tale bubble. The wedding, therefore, was a weapon, a soft power weapon of mass distraction. It was a flex of unimaginable wealth designed to send one simple message. We are powerful, we are in love, and we are untouchable. The past? That's all been deleted from the hard drive, replaced by a new, beautiful, and incredibly expensive memory. The fallout and the future. So, did it work? Did the $50 million campaign succeed? In the short term, absolutely. The global media coverage was immense. For weeks, the main story about Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sánchez was their fairy tale wedding. The dresses, the guests, the glamour, it all saturated the media, pushing the older, uglier stories further down the search results. The narrative was successfully reset. They are no longer just the couple from the tabloid scandal. They are now Mr. and Mrs. Bezos, the couple who had the wedding of the decade. One guest, Sarah Foster, later said on a podcast that despite the over-the-top optics, the event actually felt very intimate. This is the insider view, a protected, curated world, impervious to outside judgment. But some things can't be so easily erased. The lawsuits may be over, but the betrayal at the heart of the story remains. Lauren Sanchez's public statement calling her brother's actions a deep and unforgivable betrayal still hangs in the air. A wound that deep, inflicted so publicly, rarely heals completely. It's a foundational crack in the glamorous empire they've built. The story of this wedding is a perfect case study in the modern celebrity playbook. It shows how personal events are no longer personal when you operate at this level of wealth and fame. They're strategic assets used to manage a brand, shape public perception, and exercise power. It highlights the stark juxtaposition of extreme wealth and deep, messy human turmoil. But what do you think? Was this $50 million spectacle a genuine celebration of love, justifiably grand given their wealth? Or was it the most sophisticated PR campaign in history, designed to bury an ugly truth? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. This Jeff Bezos expose is just the beginning. Subscribe to Celeb Lux Life right now, because next week we're revealing another billionaire's dark secret that will leave you speechless. Don't let YouTube hide our content from you. Ring that notification bell and join our community of truth seekers. Jeff Bezos bought himself a $50 million storybook wedding. He bought the location, the guests, and the headlines. He successfully created a moment so spectacular, it momentarily blinded the world to the darkness that came before it. But as the celebrities flew home and the protest banners came down, one question lingered. Can you ever truly erase a betrayal that sits at the very heart of your love story? For all his billions and all his power, that's one price even Jeff Bezos might not be able to pay. The past is never truly gone. It's just waiting for the next chapter. Thanks for watching.